Hi, my name is Jen, and I'm with the Volusia County Public Library Hope Place branch. And today's projects will be secret safes. So we have our first project, which will be a secret safe shadow box type window picture frame. Inside we have room for a journal. I have a pair of old pearls. You could put your medications if you had to hide your medications, money, cell phone, anything you wanted to keep safe, a journal. That will be our first part of our project. The second part of our project will be a book safe. Now, if this was just sitting on your bookshelf, no one would really know the difference. This one right here, I've tied it in the back so I can stand it up. This one also is a secret safe. So we're going to start with our frame project, and let me get the items together for you. So for your picture frame safe, you will need 3 of whatever size frame that you would like. I chose the 5x7. You would need to make sure that they are flat and they all come together as the same size, so definitely get the same frame. So you'll also need your favorite 5x7 picture, my dog Jaeger. Optional, you could have an envelope to glue in the back to hold the money instead of it just kind of just sitting in there. Optional, we may need the scissors for this project. We will need a glue stick. We will also, I found it easier with a pair of needle nose pliers because we're going to need to pull some little pieces apart. Also hot glue. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is take our frame, and this does have the glass and everything, and we're going to flip it. What we're going to start by doing is by gently pulling up these tabs that hold on the back. Okay, remove that, and we're going to need that, so leave that off to the side. So then, while we have them, go ahead and gently push these tabs down. Now these dollar frames can be a little bit flimsy, so we're doing everything a little very gently. And this is where our needle nose pliers would come in very handy. Very gently, and it comes right out. So now we are going to gently remove our glass and the insert that came with it. We're going to put our frame off to the side for a moment. Our glass, put somewhere safe. And then for this one, I chose one with a panel. You can choose a frame where the picture covers the entire, but the whole point is we want concealment. So what I'm going to do is fit that on. And I kept this nice back. So that's what I'm going to do with mine. I'm going to make sure to line up where my dog picture would go so that it looks straight. So I'm all lined up. And pick up a corner with my glue stick. I'm going to glue my picture inside. Once you've got one corner solid, we don't have to worry about this for a moment. Now I have my picture on my backing, and I wanted to keep the white. So I'm going to flip it over and run a bead of the glue stick on the back. And then line it up where my picture is center again Just line it up. And again, this is purple, but it will dry. It will dry clear. So now we have our picture. So if we were, and be very gentle again with these dollar frames, if you decide to use that, it's gonna fit perfectly and no one will even know because it'll be perfectly concealed. So one of the reasons I really like the cheaper frames for this project is because we are going to have to very gently remove the top of this frame, and all that's holding it together is this little clip on the inside. So I'm going to try the other side. There we go. So it's starting to release. Okay, but be very careful because these are very sharp. These little metal tabs are very sharp. So I'm just going to put that back a little bit and very gently I'm going to try to, I took it out all the way. So I'm going to finish this one. So now we've released our frame and hold it very gently. So we still have 3 sides. Clips on the top. These are going to need to come out. I will turn towards you with the needle nose and just gently, and we'll just put it down. Oops. There we go. So this is what we're looking for. Perfect. Perfect. The next step we're going to do is adhere our glass to this frame. Right here is where the end of your glass should be on both sides, right at the very top of that corner. Okay, so we're going to run a bead of glue on the inside there, right inside this channel here, and we're going to stick our glass on it. We don't need a ton of glue because we don't want it to show. We're going to line up our glass. And that is what we're looking for. Where my finger is, right there on the edge. So our next step is going to be adding our picture to our frame, and all we're going to do is we're going to put a bead of glue on the other side, just above the glass on the frame that we did, and adhere our picture. And again, make sure that your picture is pointed the way that it's going to be inserted into your frame. Let's just run that bead of glue behind the glass. Right back here. And just make sure that your picture lines up with your glass. Okay. So then what I did was, because when you use your safe, you lift it up and down. I just put a little bead, ever so small, a little dot of glue in the bottom corner. No one will ever notice it, so that when you lift the frame, you don't take a chance of damaging the picture. It's adhered. So now we have the top of our safe done. Let's go ahead and move on. So what I've done is I've taken the other 2 frames, I've taken out all of the glass, I've set it off to the side just in case I broke this glass. It's just off to the side waiting for me to finish my project. What I did was I took out those little side tabs like we did in the beginning. So now what we're going to do, gently, we're going to take our first frame and we're going to put our second behind it. so that they line up perfectly. And we're going to run a bead of glue right in here, and we're going to connect the two. I would suggest doing one side at a time. I'm going to do my side so I make sure that they stay together. Up to your top. And just make sure that they continue to line up. Run my bead of glue to connect the one side. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect the second side, holding it down on the table to make sure that my bottom stays flush, because it's all about making it look like pretty much like a shadow box. That's what we're going for. And I'm going to hold it for just a minute till it sets. So what we've done is just simply stuck one frame to the other frame. And then we're going to do the bottom in just a minute as soon as the side's set. So at this point now we have glued our second frame to our first. We've gone completely around on the inside, gluing them together, hot glue. It doesn't matter what it looks like on the inside because that's just free space now for our items. We are just concerned really about the outside. So what we're going to do, our next step is to put this down, and we're going to take our third frame and attach it to our second. So what we've done by this point is we've done all three sides, and they are flush all the way around. Actually, on this last one, we've done all four sides because you want to go ahead and glue the top as well. So we have two frames that are solid, and then we have the one that's open, and that's going to be the safe part, okay? So make sure that this is completely dry because we're going to move on to our back. And at this point, if you wanted to also, I have an envelope. What I did was I cut the top off because I found it a little bit annoying when I opened up the lid. You can go ahead and glue an envelope, and this would hold any money. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our back on right now. First, make sure that your top is missing, that we're going to slide in like that, okay? And it's not just going to sit in there because we don't have those layers like they give us within the frames. So you're going to have to use your hands to hold the back. So what I did was I was holding it right here, and I'm going to run a bead of hot glue. Keep your hands away from the seam because you don't want to be anywhere near that, but we're just securing our back on. We don't want to stick it to stick up too high. The first one is always the hardest, and then after that, it's a lot easier. I like to go side to side. And then I'm going to do my other side. Lift this up a little bit. And run my bead of glue right along here. So I'm just going to use my fingers to kind of prop it up. Make sure not to get your fingers stuck in the seam. And while having our hand on the inside again, just to keep your fingers away from that seam. Run a bead of glue to connect your back again. Okay, so I have run a bead of glue around each side. I'm going to go ahead and finish with my last side, lifting this up. So what I've done so far is I've run a bead of glue around all four edges of the outside of the photo box. What I'm going to do now that it's all dry is flip it around, and just for some extra, I'm going to go ahead and run a bead of glue inside around on all four edges on the inside. So we are just about done with our secret safe. The glue has been dried, so now at this point you can start loading it. Again, it is sturdy enough to stand pretty much by itself. It's not even using the back. If you want to have it on a little bit of an angle, you could do that. You could mount it up on your wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fill it. In my other safe, we had money. So of course, this would be a perfect little pocket if you needed to put some money. Put that down. I was able to get, if you have a medication or I just use a bottle of eucalyptus, one of my very favorite treasured coins, a cell phone, some pearls, even a diary. So we're just gonna set everything inside. Okay. And then all you do, big glue. Just gently slide your top. Just might have to arrange it just a little bit. So we just gently slide our top over. It lines up just fine. And there you go. That is your safe. So let me get ready to set up for our book safe. So to create your book safe, you're going to need just a couple things. It's more arm work than it is anything, but you will need a book to start with. You will need a utility knife or an X-Acto knife. I found utility knife to be easier. You're going to need a ruler, pencil, optional glue stick, optional ribbon, and Mod Podge and a paintbrush. So what we're going to do is, the first step is to fold back the cover of the book. And we are going to Mod Podge all of the pages to, including the bottom cover. This will dry clear, so it's not like it's anything you need to worry about, because we're also going to go about an inch or two in on the top. So get a really good coat on your book, and we're going to work our way all around the book. Now this might take about 30 minutes to dry. It really depends on how thick a layer you put on it, but it might also, it's going to require a couple of layers. Mine, I did a minimum of 4 layers just to be safe. Get it? So I did a minimum of 4 layers. We're doing that inch to an inch and a half on the top. And then our last side, inch and a half across the top. And then I also do one in the seam, about an inch and a half down. Okay, so we're gonna let this dry. You're gonna do about 4 coats, and it's gonna make it nice and solid. You're gonna have a couple of unruly pages that wanna lift. Do not despair, just push them back down. You might put a little bit extra Mod Podge in them. They will give. So while that dries, I'm going to put 4 more coats on it, and then we'll have another book, and I'll show you exactly how to start the next step. It may be hard to see, but what I have done is the Mod Podge is already dried. I've done all the sides all the way down. It is not coming apart, not separating, and I've done at least an inch to an inch and a half around on each side on the outside. So what I'm going to do now, nice and dry, I'm going to take my ruler and put it right there in the spine. And about an inch from the outside of the book, end of the book, just going to make a line to about another inch. Okay. I'm going to take my ruler, put it on the end of the book, start at my last mark, and go down to about 1 inch. And put my ruler at the bottom of the book, about 1 inch from the end. So all we're doing is making a nice rectangle. And then I'm going to put my ruler on the end of the book, connect my 2 lines, and that is going to be where I'm going to cut. Okay, a little bit of elbow grease, and give yourself a break if you need to take a break. It's okay. But what we're going to do is with, like I said, a nice sharp utility knife. Make sure to watch your fingers. I was holding the book, and we're just gonna score as deep as we can down those lines we've made with our ruler, top and bottom. And then I'm gonna turn it. And I'm gonna score these lines right here. I'm gonna score that. Your pages will start to lift out, and then these will be discarded. A little trick that I did find though, make sure to definitely get up in the corners. I just will say that. If you want it to be very, very clean, just don't let the corners get away from you too early, because once you start leaving a bunch in the corner, even though this is straight, then you got to go back in and pick it out like I did on my final project. So just keep an eye on your corners, but I'll show you a little trick. So take these out. I'm gonna do one more score on each one. Once we're past the initial scoring, it doesn't really matter where you start, as long as you do all 4 sides. Now these pages are coming out real nice, but I also found that if you score down the middle, and this will be really when you get further down inside the book, it'll be easier just to pull out half the page instead of the entire page. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take out all these pages all the way down to the other cover of the book. Okay? So while you're doing that, I'm going to show you how to finish it up. So you're ready for the next step, because you've taken your book all the way down to your back cover. All your pages are gone. All you're going to do is re-Mod Podge the outside here. And then what I did was I also Mod Podged the inside just to make it a little more watertight. That is it. That is your book. If you allow this to dry, that is your safe. Now, I also added a couple of embellishments. I put a simple envelope on the other side because it's just a great place to hide money. So you have that. And now that this is dried, I'm able to put an entire phone. I have a couple of pieces of jewelry, some necklaces, and a USB. So now what I can either do is I can either keep it by my bed and no one would be any the wiser, or if you would like to, this is where that optional ribbon comes in. You can go ahead and just hot glue a ribbon to each side. And this one was on the very inside of the border of the book. That way when you seal it, I would recommend looping it twice. And instead of laying it down on its bottom, it's shut. So now you also have your book safe. So I hope you enjoyed my video on secret safes on a bookcase or just by itself, sitting with two bookends. You would never know that this is actually a safe and that your items are secured. This is standing here as a shadow box right now. You can mount it on the wall, whatever you'd like, and your items are still in here and secured. Okay, so I have one more trick up my sleeve. This is a very easy one. You can leave this sitting on your bedstand or bathroom, car, whatever you'd like, if you're going to the beach. So all you have to do is, it's a cheap brush from the dollar store. You're just gonna pull back the seam, and inside, I don't know if you can see it until I pull it out, but I've placed some money inside. So all I do is just tuck my little brush back in, and there you go. Just leave that on your nightstand and you're good to go. I want to thank you for joining me during my secret safe video, and also remind you to check us out on volusialibrary.org or our Facebook page for Volusia County Library. Also, you can go to our YouTube channel where you subscribe and join us while Volusia gets crafty. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.